99.7 CYK, number one for New Country and your all-time favorites. Morgan in the Morning. August 31st is another CYK You Ought to Know show. Jefferson Theater. Say you saw him win moment with a guy named Corey Smith. He's been touring all over the world. He's coming to Charlottesville, and he's on Morgan in the Morning.
Dude, I've been checking out some of your YouTube videos, and I was thinking I'd get maybe a concert or two. Instead, the first thing I see is what you're doing after the show, which is hanging out with magicians and getting stuck in bathrooms. I'm like, this is the guy I want to hang out with.
Yeah, it's not always glamorous back there, but we've been traveling around with a videographer for years.
Right.
It's just kind of fun. I just try to let fans inside of that experience and show them that it's not all glitz and glamour, you know?
Well, and that's the best way to do it because it makes you relatable, it makes you real. It's not all about the shiny stuff, and I think people will follow you forever for that. Every single song on these albums you've pretty much written, right?
Yeah, I've written them all by myself. Actually, it's counting a live record. I'm actually putting out my 12th record, right?
That's fantastic. And I know this is kind of a cliche question to ask, but describe your process when you're trying to write a song. What influences you? How do you put together that story?
I found that the more specific I can be, the more natural I am about just describing an experience, the more relatable it is, which is it's different than what you might think. You might think in order to write a song that appeals to a lot of people, you need to think very generally. Okay, how do I describe this in a way that's to draw a picture that I understand. I know how to draw it because I've lived that picture, and just try to draw it with as much detail as possible. When I'm writing, I usually feel like there's something I need to get off my chest. Something's bothering me.
Yeah.
So it's sort of therapeutic, and I find that if I just focus on expressing myself and just trying to express whatever it is I want to express, and then don't worry about whether people are going to like it. It's just sort of put it out there and then see later on, but don't stress about that.
Right. I love true artists, ones that anybody can try to draw a painting of Mona Lisa, right? They can attempt to do that, but the ones that draw the pictures of things that they lived through, things that relate to a past experience or maybe something they're going through right now, has so much more meaning. And that's the same with songs, too. And you've done that, and that's what makes you so awesome. You started as a teacher, too, right?
I did. I was a high school social studies teacher for about 4 years right after I got out of college, and just wrote songs then as sort of a hobby.
Right.
But it was really important for my development to go through a phase of my life where music wasn't wasn't the way I made a living. It wasn't the most important thing to me. It was I still had a regular job where I was providing for my family, and I loved my teaching job. I felt like I was making a difference, and giving back. But even in the middle of all that, there was still a place in my life for songwriting. I still did it because I felt like I had to do it. It just gave me a lot of joy. And eventually, I think it was that sort of passion that led me to write the songs that I feel like still have a lot of meaning today and still carry my career forward. Songs like 21, or If I Could Do It Again, or Maybe Next Year, things like that. I wasn't writing those songs as a professional full-time musician. I was writing them as a teacher who was just writing stuff to get it off my chest,
Corey Smith is going to be at the Jefferson Theater on August 31st. You can see all of these songs unfold right on stage. What a story for Corey. He was 28 years old and decided to bite that bullet and go into music full-time. You've operated without a record label, too, for most of your career. Why is that?
It's just been my path. I don't think I'm cut out for, a big corporate, career. It's just the demands are a lot different. And I always said that if I got to a point where I couldn't build a career and keep my artistic integrity, I didn't want to do it. I would rather teach high school. To me, I want to reach as many people as I can, but if I have to sacrifice my integrity to do that, then what's the point?
Sure.
And I felt like whenever I went down that path of exploring, bigger opportunities, and whether it be in Nashville or New York, it ultimately led to, well, here's the way we do it. This is great what you've been doing down there in Georgia, and it's great that you produce your own records and you've written all your own songs. But the way we do it is we're going to put you start getting you with some of these hit songwriters and let you learn how they write, and we're going to get you an ex-producer and he'll help you write. And it became in order to play in that sandbox, you really had to play a different sort of game, and it's not the kind of game that I was cut out for. And frankly, I've had such great fans where I've been able to tour and make a really good living doing this. So I didn't feel like I needed to do that. I didn't have to. I didn't want to. So heck,
sure.
Why not? Why do it?
Do you think you would have, and not saying that, I mean, you're obviously very successful, but do you think if you had gone the record label route, you would be, performing at the CMAs and that sort of thing? I mean, do you have any regrets as far as not doing that at all?
Well, I'd be lying if I said I didn't think about that kind of thing a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of friends that I helped get started. Brantley Gilbert, toured with me for his first 3 years. We're from the same town, and Zach Brown and Luke Bryan, we all cut our teeth at the same time at the same places. And back when we were starting out, I was crushing them, like numbers wise.
Yeah.
Before they had a radio hit.
Mm-hmm.
And so I saw they all took different paths. And yeah, there's times where I go, wow, maybe if I'd have been a little bit more open-minded about things, less stubborn, maybe I would have had a different path. But ultimately, I don't spend too much time thinking about it because I'm just very grateful. And
absolutely,
there's more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. And I'm just grateful that I've been able to carve out this path, and it's given me a lot of freedom. And I think it's going to give me a long career. And I'll be able to look back on my body of work and know that every decision is my decision. I'm not going to be able to blame somebody else. I'm not going to, these are my songs and my choices. So we'll see how it all pans out. But I really love the Jefferson Theater for lots of reasons. It's cool. It's historic. I love that outdoor mall there downtown.
Are there any other favorite places you like to go? Maybe some watering hole bars or maybe some restaurants you like to go when you come to Charlottesville?
There is a burger spot. Actually, no, there's a place I always go for breakfast. If you take a right out of the Jefferson.
Is it called the White Spot?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it, like an old school diner. I always go in
what's
there
funny?
for breakfast.
Every single artist I talk to, whether it's you or Phil Vassar or even Garth Brooks, even mentions, well, there's this little place downtown called, there's a burger or an egg place or something like that. That is the place to go. So we can't wait to see you, Corey Smith, back in Charlottesville, Jefferson Theater on August 31st, a CYK You Want to Know show. And Corey, thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Morgan in the Morning.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.